Uh, Big me, I guess. All right, folks. Gonna bring in our guest in just a moment. I want everyone to welcome Mecron, the head honcho down at Kerberos Studios, creator of Sword of Stars Universe and Sword of Stars Pit, among other games, and fellow acolyte of the RNG gods. So welcome to the Church of RNG, Mecron. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm getting your speech double with a delay. So what have I buggered up?
Do you hear me through your stream? Maybe. Yeah, I heard it in the background for a second.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I should mute the stream?
Yep, mute the stream. Yeah.
There we go.
All right.
Long time fan, first time caller. Sorry.
Awesome. Same here. Same here. So, what's the? Should we just jump right in it, or what do we say here? We're all hyped. I've been hyping up your little announcement for like a couple days now. I'm
Well,
excited.
thank you very much. The announcements, which I thought was fair to do here since you guys have been so supportive, is that we have a cunning plan.
Oh, a cunning
plan so cunning you could stick a tail on it and call it a Zool. We have found a way to make a turn-based Pit 2.
Oh, turn-based, baby. Nice.
Yep. And we have a plan for getting it done.
Okay.
That plan based, and that's the sacrifice, is we got to get it done on our own.
No, you're not going through a publisher?
No publisher for this.
Ooh.
Publishers want real time.
Nobody'll take you up, eh?
Yeah. Nope. So when it came down to short-term making publisher happy versus long-term making all y'all folks happy, yeah, we wanted to stick to you folks because, contrary to some people's opinion, the term Pit 2 is really important to us.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. I think I'm sure it'd be a good product one way or another, but like at its core, we want more of Pit 1. Honestly, like that's what we want.
If someone comes along and says we want to put the Pit 2 on the Xbox, but it has to be real time, it's like, okay, that's a different game, right? Like, yeah. I'm willing to talk about that. Or conversely, if all of you folks had gone, we've been waiting for Diablo Pit our entire lives. Yes, what are you even bother talking about it for?
Yeah.
That also would have been different. But your guys' voices were heard. And actually, to be honest, watching you play occasionally reminds me of why I made a lot of choices I did in the first place.
Nice. So, good.
Thank you for that.
Oh, and thank you for making a great roguelike, one of the best of all time, in my opinion.
If only you could mind control the press, that would be fabulous.
I'm working on it.
we have never been a darling of the press ever, no matter what. No, except when they were desperate for us to talk dirt about a certain publisher. Then they knew who we were, and then it was just like, yeah, you just want to get us into a lawsuit so you can get even more press events out of this. No.
Yeah, I read the odd review on the Pit, like sometimes, and it's like the reviews are just so harsh sometimes. Like they're just like they don't really understand what Rogue is all about, and they think it's too hard, and it's like they think their choices don't matter, but like your choices matter big time in this game. Like
I was a reviewer back in the 90s. That's how I came into the industry, right? Like I know the gig. And I come from a time when you did the gig to get paid, right? Like as in you handed in a review and it was worth like a lot of money to do not as in kickback money, but as in people paying you to do your job money.
Yeah.
Like I did in the height of the internet site glory days, I did a shootout between Quake 2 and I guess whatever Unreal. What was the other big shooter at the same time that Quake 2 dropped? Whatever, I can't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, because it was the same company, right? It was the other. I guess it was the first Unreal, wasn't it?
Oh,
might
maybe,
have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so long ago. I'm so old.
I remember these games too, so not too no worry too much.
Unreal Tournament. It might have been Nips. Yeah. God, that's racist. Puffy. I'll just call you Puffy. That's safer. Otherwise, somebody will isolate me saying the other word, and I'll be in trouble.
Puffy.
But yeah, it was
on that on the Puffy Nip story. The poor guy had a hard time with his name. His old name. I don't care. Mind saying Puffy. His real name was Puffy Nipple, and he had to get it changed. And it was kind of a BS in my opinion. But anyways,
it's a little taking things too seriously.
Yeah.
But yeah, like back in the day, I had a reputation for being fast and thorough. So I wrote that shootout over the course of a 3-day weekend, and I got paid. And I got paid $1 a word.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
But those were the days. But on the other hand, those were the days where if you got paid, then you had to not screw it up, right?
Yeah.
Like if you did a review and talked about how this game was crap because it didn't have like, I don't know, multiplayer save, and then they published that, and it turned out it did have and you just didn't find it in the menus.
Yeah, ouch.
Ouch, right? You don't get the next gig, right? Whereas now it's kind of back to the old days, which is, here's your pay, it's a free copy of the game. It's like, yeah, maybe that brought the standards down a bit, but... And also the just repeating the first review you've read and retyping it, that's a big thing too, right? So I'm always tense about the first 5 reviews because I know the next 12 will be rewrites of the first 5.
Oh, right. It's got to be a tense moment. When
it always is.
Coming out. Yeah.
Yeah, it always is, because like I said, if it was, back in the good old days, then it'd be like random, and you get a guy that hated you and a guy that thought you were great and a good analysis. But now you just get a lot of repeat sort of thing, right?
Yeah, and I feel like reviews are so much more important today than they were like back then.
They are.
Just because they see it on a lot of people like on Steam, are like, oh, okay, this game looks interesting, and then user reviews positive, negative, and as soon as they see negative, most players will probably be like, okay, never mind, because the market's so massive, right?
they're really important. That's why I kind of wish that there was a place that was paying for good reviews, right? Proper reviews, because it is a job. It's a skill set, right? Any person who can look over a game and honestly and impartially go over it, that's a skill, right? Like, and people should be respected for that.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I can read and write. I can do it. It's like, can you? Like I said, I've gotten terrible reviews that I respected because they were very analytical and fair, right? So I'm not doing that thing like, ooh, quality reviews are good ones.
Yeah, not everyone's ever going to be happy about reviews. It's like, it's very like, it's an opinion, right? It's Oh, by the way, Twitch chat. If any of you guys have any questions for Mecron, just at me, and I'll type them and I'll take note of them, and I'll ask Mecron any of your questions. If you're up for that, Mecron, I assume you are.
Yep, that'd be great. And as for Blas's point right there, it's like, back in the day when I was working on Homo Cataclysm, we had a publisher, Sierra, the rep from Sierra wanted us to have dad mode as a difficulty level, right? And dad mode was where the game played itself for all intents and purposes.
That's hilarious.
To which I tried to explain, the guy's like, my dad's a World War II vet. He will never play this game. Ever. Oh, I hear little noise.
Yeah, my niece is here.
That's super cute.
Chilling. Maybe I should
that is super cute. I spent the day with... it's cool. That's super awesome. I spent the day yesterday with my grandson, so Tiddlywinks are cool. Tiddlywinks are cool.
I'm forced to eat her cheese right now. Okay. Now sipping it up. Sorry.
Yes, Lazard.
Anything else you can tell us about the pit, says Major Lazar. Pit 2 at this time. All right,
I will give you you guys the plan, because the plan is fan dependent in the sense that participation in sales will definitely drive the project. So the current plan is we will be going with a turn-based update of the pit first. We are going to what is it on Steam? Early release?
Early access.
Early access. We will going early access for that.
Okay.
So that everybody who cares can play initially and get your opinions in on the ground floor.
So what are you releasing to early access exactly?
Early access will be an upgrade of the game you are playing now, right? So it will be 20 to 25 floors of the pit with turn-based, top-down 3D view, 3D assets, which will bring us to the wonderful world of better-looking effects and also you seeing the exact weapon you're carrying around as opposed to rifle.
Yeah.
And
it's a few
pistol.
modes. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, and different pieces of armor that you're wearing, right? As opposed to medium armor, heavy armor. So it allows us to do that. We will, like I said, the goal there, and what you will be citing if you purchase the game early, you will be getting, at minimum, a duplicate of the pit, right? So if it turns out 10 of you kick in, right, and we make $100, right? The worst case scenario there for you as a purchaser is that you will get an updated version of the pit.
Gotcha.
That's right. That's the
so it'll be like a 3D version of what I'm playing right now with pretty much all the same like mechanics and monsters and stuff like that.
Some changes, right? Like we'll be, I mean, you'll see the evolution of the system. So, you know, what you would call it when you make stuff out of stuff, crafting. You know, you'll see the new crafting model. You'll see more sophisticated positional model. We're allowed to be fuzzier on the grid positions of things now, right? Which means they'll still be restricted to movement, but in appearance-wise, they won't be as rigid, and you know, swarms will look cooler and stuff like that. If you see what I mean.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Are you? Sorry, do you mind if I chime in for a second?
Oh no, of course.
Have you seen a game called Jupiter Hell? It's released recently. You ever heard of that one?
I have not.
It's a pretty new roguelike, and it's have you ever seen or played Doom roguelike?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the same creator, and they totally trying to like recapture that fast element. But what I'm pointing at a bit more is that that game feels like it's a for real roguelike, and it's one of the ones that are closer to the pit. I'd feel just much simpler. And maybe I suggest having a quick look at what they're doing with their 3Ds, because they're kind of like, when I see a pit 2, I vision it would probably look similar to that. There are some things I don't like about how Jupiter Hell looks like. As far as I feel like you're too zoomed out and you don't really see what you're fighting too much. It's very dark. So there's some negative things about how Jupiter Hell looks like, but I think like the idea of when I see the pit 2, I see it a lot. Possibly it's going to look like that. That's kind of like in my mind. So I don't know. I think if you have a quick peek at that, maybe if you can tell me if that's true or not. Not right now or whenever, but that's
yeah. I mean, your first clues are to take a lot of the look and structure from Pi, because again, as we told people when we were working on Pi, that you know this was about test bedding a lot of stuff for Pit 2.
Sorry, what's Pi?
Pit Infinity, sorry.
Oh, okay, Pit Infinity.
Gotcha. Yeah, when I talk about my games, I tend to use all our internal abbreviations, right? Like
understandable.
Which creates awkward situations, like talking about Hog, right? People are like Hog, and you're like Hordes of Glory. Sorry.
I've got a funny little thing on my stream where I call my stream a no acronym stream. I got like a thing against acronyms.
So, yeah, you're right.
So just because, like, you know, I like for everyone to know what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, my bad. Like I said, it's my just internal meeting.
No, yeah. I mean, you're not the only one. Tons of people have that habit. Like they just throw acronyms, especially in the business world. Like you know, throw acronyms like they're candy and expect everyone to understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yesterday I was watching a great clip of Bill Hader in a like group interview responding to someone's inside joke and miming that he was outside of the glass. It's like, oh, you're making a joke. I don't understand it. It's not for me. Let me in, please. It's like, yeah. So I will refrain from doing that.
I have a few. Oh yeah. Do you mind if I direct the questions, if that's okay?
Yeah. I would just didn't want you to forget about Phoenix there because I didn't want him to run off.
No problem. Which question of the Phoenix were you looking at?
The one, the slightly odd one about canceling the FPS game. That's a.
It's been out for a while, GC Phoenix. It's done, man. Give it a look. It's done. It's pretty fun.
And still being updated and such. The honest truth there is that it hasn't collected enough attention to justify its mind games mode yet.
Gotcha.
So that's the honest situation there, right? More people get them. We're getting close, but I mean, like I said, it's a business, and y'all vote with your dollars, right?
Yeah,
like
very true.
if you guys are not, that's kind of what I'm trying to stress about this plan. It's like, you folks turn out to be not interested. That's good. That's no harm, no foul. But that means the project only goes so far, right? When you guys pay in, oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Go finish your thought. That's good.
In the sense that what we guarantee you is the minimum you will get, right? Like, I don't want anybody thinking like, oh, I buy into early release and then the game's canceled and I don't get anything. That won't happen, right?
That's good.
You will get something, but like I said, 2 people buying in means that you'll get a duplicate of the pit, and it'll be nice and it'll be cool. But that means, no mind games if there's only 2 people, right?
Yeah,
but that's not what you're paying for, and that's not what we're promising, right? On the other hand, 50,000 of you buy in. It's like, oh, fudge, yeah, that will be right. We will drive. But I mean, the thing that people have to realize is, yeah, it's a business, and that doesn't mean, usually people hear that phrase as in, oh, you're going to make decisions that are not about us, right? It's like, no, sometimes it's about folks got to eat and feed their families and stuff, right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, if the publishers are forcing you to make what am I talking about? A non-turn-based game, then like your hand might be forced. I would understand that. Like, like you say, you got to do what you got to do to get the funding, right? So.
Yeah, it is, but there's a cost. Like I said, there was a cost benefit, right? Was breaking all of you folks worth? And I don't trust publishers a lot to start with.
Yeah,
and those of you who followed me know why. So it's not quite that. Oh yes. Once you sign on a publisher, you've signed your soul away, but at least you get $10 million. It's like, yeah, sometimes you sign your soul, and sometimes you get $10 million. Sometimes you don't. Yeah, it was just cost-benefit analysis in the sense of, you guys have been playing the game for years, right? You've inspired lots of stuff. And I've designed around you guys from the first moment it reached the open air, right? Right. There's even a couple achievements based on you folks.
yeah. Lethal Frag, right? That's one of them.
Yep.
I got a couple.
So yeah,
questions.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm rambling. Yeah, please, I'm rambling.
All good. 2 in 1 here. We got Mercy for the Meek and Rock Climber. One says, "Where can I give you my money?" And Rock Climber says, "GoFundMe viable." So kind of 2 questions in one. What do you think of those comments? Questions.
Again, done a lot of that. In the early days, and still do. I do it for board games. I do crowdfunding for board games. I don't find it as reliable. I don't find it reliable enough, and it's slow.
Okay.
In the sense that the feedback you get in terms of people's response takes a couple months to get around to. Also, it's not... these days, the GoFunding, the crowdfunding thing is so... broken for most people, right? Unless you have, your choices are, do I have 90,000 for an advertising campaign to get people in the media to know about it? Or do I just get lucky, right? Lucky. And that whole process takes 3 months, right? It's like, well, I got news for you folks. You're going to have your Pit 2 by 3 months. So...
What? For real?
Oh, for reals, these folks.
3 months, right? Pit 2, at least like in the early access?
Early access Pit 2. Within 3 months, you have my word.
Oh my goodness. I'm shocked by that, actually. That's awesome. I did not expect that.
Well, now you could... If you read the Steam conversation about the future of the Pit 2, and people talk, and a few people who grumpily pop in from time, this topic's been on for 3 years and there's still nothing. This is bullshit. And I'm just like, you can imagine the sound of the enamel on my teeth flaking off as I grind them, resisting saying anything, right? It's just like, lots of crap gets done in parallel with other stuff, people. Please keep that in mind. Right.
I got a quick question for myself, actually.
Sure.
Are you gonna get some of the old crew that worked on the Pit 1 with you, or is it gonna be fresh faces, or what do you think?
Right now, there is leading heavily on Unreal for the engine. And again, even y'all who didn't like Pit Infinity should thank Pit Infinity for that. And so there'll be 3 of us who were there from the beginning.
Oh, nice.
But I don't think... Yeah, it was so long ago. That's the other thing I hate being a grown-up with people about, because they're like, oh, you should update this or get back to that. It's just like, you do realize it's been, like, let's say a decade since the game you're talking about existed. How many of you are working the same job after 10 years or are in the same position after 10 years, right? Like, not a lot.
Many, yeah.
Right, yeah. So I have to, like...
I'm happy to hear that there's 3. That's good. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to explain to somebody on the kaiju thing. It's like, I am sorry, but this game is quite old, and everybody who worked on it from a programming side of view has moved on to other gigs, right? And it's just like, and that's got nothing to do with, oh my God, you're falling apart. It's like, no, you don't chain a person to their desk. Like, actually, that's not true. If you're EA, you chain people to desks.
Oh, that's how it works in EA? Yeah, okay.
and just in any industrial technology thing. Like, I had a friend who was a really beautiful 3D artist, right? And they look kind of like, they're kind of down. I'm like, dude, you've got the job, or do that in this situation. And she was like, yeah, the leaves in Brave? I'm like, you mean on the trees? Like in that Disney flick? She's like, yeah. She's like, all those leaves are mine for 2 years.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I get it now. Sorry.
All right, let's flush out another question here. Capitano Obvioso says, how far along in development is Pit 2 right now? I guess we kind of got an answer, but do you want to elaborate on that?
Pit 2, we've got random floors, we've got movement, we've got mobs, we are clearing. I'm in the middle of rebuilding the tables from scratch.
Like the loot tables? Is that what you mean by tables?
The loot tables, the monster tables.
Oh, all the tables. Okay.
Yeah, all the tables, right. The one thing which no one's ever really talked about for that game, which is the weird thing I'm most proud of, is the whole barometer system of how the tables work, both loot and mobs and everything else.
Barometer? You mean like the deeper you go, how the loot changes kind of thing?
But that there's a... Have you looked at anybody who's looked at the files have seen it. There's a master list of entries that go from 0 to like 350, right, for the number rolled.
For like the loot that you find, basically.
Right. Or let's actually, for the hull monsters, that's a perfect example, right? So you've got a long list that goes from 0 to 350. And the game rolls from 0 to 50 to pick what happens, right? So let's say 20 to 25 is rats. Game rolls 22, a rat appears.
Okay.
But what's interesting about, and what was elegant about it, is that band of 50 possibilities moves down the master list with every floor you go down.
Yeah.
Right? So think about it as, like I always say, barometer, that colored part on the barometer where you watch the air pressure go up and down. Yeah. That's what's happening in the game, right? But as monumental as they got, and oh my God, they got huge for the game you're playing right now. To do it right, I have to strip it all back down to formula, rebuild it from the start with the assets that I know for sure exist, and then add it in.
Yeah, pretty cool. It's definitely an awesome mechanic for the game for sure. Like the how the loot changes, the monster changes, all that stuff.
And there's a clue about a small team, right? I'm a designer. I don't do technical work per se. I don't program. I don't do art, right? Lord knows my artists live in fear of me coming up to their desk with something scratched on a piece of paper and said, make one of these. And they're like, a duck riding a horse with a banana? And like, no, that's the brain of something. They're like, oh, sorry. Please don't fire me, sir. Because I'm the worst artist known to mankind. But the way that Kerberos works is that everybody tries to unload, like programming and art are heavy intensive jobs, especially in the middle and the end of a project, right? So we always try to find ways to unload tasks onto ourselves. So I do all the table work as a designer. I just take that load off from programmers, right? It's just like, I know how to write a text file. I can do this. and I won't make you spend 2 months trying to automate this system for me. I'll just do it by hand. Thanks.
Nice.
So yeah, we are closer than many of you would think.
Yeah, well,
Like I
the
said,
whole 3 months thing was a pretty big surprise to me, and I think most of the chat too. So
three
that's sick.
3 months with 3 months with no hesitation, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not saying completely, utterly finished. That is early release, right?
Yeah,
Again,
early
with
access.
lots of, and for whoever asked about the quality of life stuff, incorporating a lot of that as well, right? We're for this redesign, we have looked over almost everything that everybody has said for what is it, like 10 years now? Yeah,
I'm sure the amount of feedback you have for the pit is astronomical
yeah,
at this point.
yeah. Maybe something good, maybe something bad.
Yeah.
Okay, carry on.
Let me fish out another question here. Let's see. Okay, so who is this? Matrix Disc says, are you planning to create a particular way for involved fan to participate in the development with feedback?
Yeah, that's the whole point of the early release, right? That will give you guys lots of opportunity to play stuff as it's implemented, and give your feedback on it.
What's your favorite way of getting feedback? Like forum, let's say. Like, do you want it through
Like
Steam or do you want it through your forums?
Steam.
Yeah, Steam?
Let's keep it on Steam. My Steam boots up every morning, right? Like I can go there, I can look. Let's keep it civil. And also, some of you know me. It's like I don't suffer some stuff well, right? In the sense that, let's acknowledge we're looking at the game and know what the game is. So everybody's like, I think the loot should be adjusted a bit this way. It's like, oh, good suggestion. I think the whole game should be changed to a fight between ducks. It's like, that's outside the parameters of what we're working on right now. So thanks for the suggestion, but I don't think it's going to make it through, right?
Yeah. Let's see. Do you want like the currently? Tyler says, do you want like the currently implied quality of life mod in the new game, such as accuracy and telling you the number rolled and the number generator? Those are two pretty specific examples, but yeah.
Yeah. And that's a good example of design. It's like, yep, there's a lot of quality of life stuff that you guys have wanted that we again look at as raw feedback. And in that case, percentage accuracy, I would be happy with that as an on-screen all the time part of the combat engine.
Yeah. I mean, it's choice. I'm one of the rare people I think that like hidden information, but it seems like the general people do not like hidden information for the most part.
Yeah. The telling you the number part, I wouldn't make that a toggle, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And maybe a lot of the extra information. Like, it's there. I'm groovy. You guys like it. I'm not sure as a designer I want it filling the screen or that every person wants it. Because I've seen the mistake on the other way when the guys who did City of Heroes did Champions. And there was a vocal part of the community like, I don't know why my energy blast missed or what it was doing. It's like, then they change it so like everything showed on the screen as you fired your energy blast. It's just like, I'm not sure that's kind of Superman-y heat vision to see like complex quantum math go through the air.
Yeah, there's a balance to be struck there, I think.
Yeah. So I think we will go towards toggling for a lot of that information, right? Like, if you want it, we'll try and put in a button that puts it someplace useful for you.
All right, let's throw in another one here. I think you answered this one a little bit. Matrix Disc asks, which programming language / technology / framework are you using to develop this Pit 2?
Yep. It'll be, it's Unreal, the new Unreal Engine, which we use for Pit Infinity. We've learned our lesson for not trusting Microsoft to drop a language 1 year after we finish a game. Poor old Pit. But yeah, we are using Unreal. The tough part there is we also want to open up the game to Steamworks. The way Unreal compiles makes that a little difficult, but whatever ways it's possible to do, we will open up that for you guys, right? If you guys want to start selling your own, like, we're sure that skins will work, right? So if you guys want to start working on your own Pit skins and stuff, right? Great, and sell them in Steamworks, good on you, right? So, but yeah, it's an unreal kind of game.
You can sell stuff on Steamworks. I didn't even know that.
I think you can, or I might
Yeah.
be old and delusional.
Oh, I don't know.
So,
I'm not even sure. I don't. I'm not much of a mod type person, so I don't really pay
yeah,
attention
same
to
here.
it.
But
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Fish out one more. How many people even worked on the original pit? Asks Jeremoni.
at the maximum, there was 5 for most of the early development. There was 3 of us, right? It was what we did to try and save ourselves while a certain publisher was choking us to death and making us work for free on expansions. Yeah, it was never a big team.
Always small.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right, I think I got through most of the questions here. All right, cool. Well, that was a super hype announcement, I gotta say. Like, mostly the 3-month thing, because I think that's got a lot of chat excited around. I'm definitely excited to see what Pit 2 looks like in 3D, where we go from there. But yeah.
Yep. Will be the next thing you will see was you'll see the Steam page go up for the pre-release, which will does you won't be able to get it yet, but you'll be able to see screenshots and stuff like that. Which will give you a better idea. But like I've hinted at before when we've been talking, yeah, you guys are going to drive it a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
we
all know how we all know how the Steam algorithm works, right? Like,
yeah.
So that's why I was saying that's the other kind of logical reason for let's put all the feedback on Steam, right?
Yeah, to build some hype there and stuff to read.
Yeah. And also, like 300 messages a day, I can slog through that, right?
Yep.
And if it's on my own website, no one cares, right?
Yeah.
If it's on Steam, it makes a difference, right?
Personalized, like websites, I feel are just kind of going down in popularity so much now. Like how often, like me personally, like it's so rare to go to like a different website for pretty much anything. It's like everyone has their little bubble of websites and don't want to get out of it.
When we were in the height of Sword of the Stars, the Space Strat game, going through our own message boards was 2 hours every morning for me, right? Mm-hmm. Now there's 6 messages a week, maybe, right? Even though there's a bunch of games on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how to phrase, I guess, this last message. We're kind of in this together, right? Mm-hmm. In order to, like, you just want to play a new pit, you'll get a new pit. You want mind games? Oh, and the planet of pits? Mm-hmm. Then we need. Oh yeah.
I've heard a bit about like the idea of this, but like having kind of like different pit installments. Yeah.
If you read some of the last interspersed in probably the top, last 50 messages, right? The ones numbered in the last 50, you will see a couple references to communications going out to places that are not Arbuda 4. Yeah. There is after Mind Games will come your link to a very dark, very shrouded planet that is forbidden by the General Alliance of Races. But they all allow a small presence there because they all need scary Sulka stuff. Right? So that will be. Yep, that's your big teaser for the entire thing.
Sweet, I'm excited. I got a question from Matrix. Where are the loot tables in the Pit 1 located, and what do you recommend to browse them? Okay, but anyways, if you want to answer that, you can. But...
there's a table called data in every single expansion. You see, remember, my knowledge is from the pre-compiled game, right? The raw files in my SVN. So that's what I go off of. But they're all text, right? Remember, I reminded you all that I was an idiot, so all the files are text files.
Hey, sometimes I'm in Notepad right now taking all these stuff. So I love my Notepad.
Yeah, exactly. I'm an old idiot, right? Someone's
Yeah.
like, "Do you do these all on a spreadsheet?" It's like, "What is this thing you call spreadsheet?"
Prismatic Current had a pretty funny comment here. I'm sorry, your zombie cure is another castle.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. No, think of a more interactive or interrelated set of facility. Like instead of pits, they're facilities, right? And also all the Silco be represented. Remember, the pit, you're just dealing with the biological monster, right? The guy who likes to experiment with life. That's what the entire pit is, right? There's like the war guy, right? Like his labs are filled with exotic weaponry and automata and stuff like that, or the Siren's mind control labs. And think of a world where you have multiple pits on the go at once. Like some of them you can just walk back out of, right? So think about kind of bottoming out, say at level 8 in one facility, like you just can't get past. It's suicidal. So you go off and try and find something that'll work from some other facility, right? Like I need some sort of crazy big ass area effect weapon to get past this. I don't know, mob of super frogs or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and there's speaking of a comment, we'll have to discuss things like how do we feel about extending that. Like you will always have the pit, you will always have the infinity death run of death, right? But in a bigger picture, what are your feelings about resurrection, right? Are you going to want to run like a group of explorers, right? Like, do you want to have your company consist of a marine and an engineer, right? And a marigi, right? And then if one burns out, you can come and rescue with the other, right? Or do you not care? And should we just go to the gamey? You have a resurrectatron back at your home base, and poop, you're back, but with no equipment, right? I mean, there's ways that we can go through, and we can discuss this together, right?
Yeah.
Like what feels the best to you guys, right? And that's an example of how participation will work for literally a couple years going forward in time, right?
Yeah.
I will always be coming to you with one thing or another at any given moment, going, I'm thinking A, or I'm thinking maybe B. What do you guys think, right?
Yeah, it'd be nice. I don't know if there's a way to do polling, and I guess you could probably put a straw poll or some sort of poll link inside of Steam if you want to poll the populace,
Yeah, or a link, or for sheer brute force polling like that, then find a link that goes to our boards with the poll there, right?
Yeah.
For that we can draw people there. There's a way to do stuff, right?
So you say that a lot of the support's going to be in the fans' hands. So what are some of the best ways for us to assist and to what's the best way?
Yeah, once it breaks open, like I've said before, a bunch of reviews, right? Even if they don't all have, I'm not saying make them all the best reviews ever. It's like, yeah, you know what? Even if there's something you don't care for, 100 reviews the first day is our 100 reviews the first day, right? What will kill the future of the pit is for it to just, even if it's brilliant, to meander in darkness with no recognition, right?
Yeah.
So write reviews yourself. Get your friends to do it. Talk to your friends about it. Ask websites to review the game, right? Or preview the game, right? I mean, we're doing something, and opening this up to you guys, we're doing something a little experimental, right? But if we run around and go to all the media sites, go, check us out, we're doing something really experimental. It's like they get 2,000 emails like that a day from devs, right?
Yeah.
It's like our voice doesn't generate coverage. Your guys' voice generates coverage, right? As long as you're polite and sane. And just talking it up when you do play it, right? It's just like, yeah, you're going to get your turn-based game, right? We're happy about that, and we need as much as the world happy about that as possible, right? Right now, it's tough. Right now, it's tough being a professional indie, right? It's still a great place to be a garage band indie, right? Like you all have other jobs, and then you meet every weekend and futz around with a game and get it out there. And the media loves that, right? Trying to be a thing that has an office and pays people and takes care of people's teeth
Yeah,
And,
that's another challenge right there.
while still doing the indie thing, yeah, right. Because that choice is like, yeah, why don't you work on like Need for Speed 77, right? That
Yeah.
gets you the perks. But doing your own thing, yeah, that's a little tough, right?
Also, I hear a lot of like whenever I see games developed, they're always pushing to get their games just wish listed. Um,
Yep.
apparently that helps like big time. So
The
how does
algorithms are,
that? So like when you say the algorithm helps it, like does that mean it
yeah.
like pops up more in people's faces when they see wish listed items? Is that why it's so popular or why it's so
Yes.
important? I mean,
Right. Yeah. So say we all, you and I like a grape picking simulator. It's not out yet, so you and I wish list it. The way the algorithm kind of works is that it then looks for 20 other people who bought Grape Simulator 1. And when Steam gives you that list of games, like these are the 10 games you should check out, if you and I have Grape Simulator 2 wish listed, it ups the odds of that then showing up on their lists to go, hey, you like grapes, right? That's a thin thing. So we've got, so right now, Pit Infinity has a high wish list number, right? It'd be nice for that to translate more into more purchase numbers, but I'm still happy with it, because I know it's showing up on people's list.
that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's stuff like that, and like I said, and also there's reaching the general community, right? Like this is a community. I'm talking to you guys, but there's thousands of other dudes out there who I'm not talking to right now, or
Yeah, absolutely.
don't exist on that, right? So, like I will make an official announcement in the next couple days in the Steam discussion area, right? I will say that there's a plan for basically what I've told you guys, right? Though less verbose. But and then after that, it's about making sure everybody knows it, right? We'll put it in the message of the day and stuff. But yeah, the greater Pit community, right?
Yeah, maybe
Time to get
expand on your Discord a bit too. Like I know you guys
Oh
have
yeah,
your own Discord, but
yeah,
there's a couple out there too. There's the Pit Discord and my Discord
yeah,
to a minor extent. But
yeah. There's a couple. I mean, and again, what's tough for us is there's very few of us now, right?
yeah,
Like, yeah. So anytime anybody wants to help, with the community, we are down with that, right?
yeah. There's also it's a bit hard to get into, but there's the official roguelike Discord too. But
Yeah.
that's a big one.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, right. A big one and semi-hostile at times.
Yep, I agree. I agree with that one.
Yep.
I agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny that you say that as well. It's
Yeah.
they're pretty like they got their rules and they're pretty.
I
I
mean,
don't really hang out there that much for that reason, but it's nice that it's there.
this is going to sound a bit snippy old manish, but nothing makes me smile more than someone half my age snoddily explaining to me what a rogue is. Right? It's just like, oh no, that's cute. You do realize that I played my first rogue games were on the mainframe computer of a university, right? Because that was the only place to find it. Right? It's like I am kind of aware of the definition. Nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty loose term these days.
And it kind of should be. I mean, as a designer, when definitions get too tight, they kill your genre, right?
Yeah.
It's the flight sim community is just escaping that, right? Like they nearly suffocated themselves, right?
Oh, really? They
And
have the
now-
same type of thing as like.
Oh yeah,
the
just
roguelike
definitions,
thing?
and it's like, oh wait a minute, this isn't doing like counter airflow over the tail aileron, right, or the taileron. Like this isn't a flight sim. This is an arcade game. It's like, it is it? Is it really? That's what you're gonna stand on? And yeah, they nearly. I never designed a flight sim, but I loved flight sims early on, right? And I especially loved network flight sims, where people could pick their level of reality.
Okay.
So it wasn't too. So you get your less technical friends to come with, right?
Yeah. Flight sims are
but
crazy.
that-
Like I've never played one,
Yeah.
but like just watching a bit of it is like just nuts how realistic they are. It's
Yeah, right.
quite
And that's
quite a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, intimidating. Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
yeah. To which, if the community had just left that alone, that would have been fine, right? People could have chosen their I like flight sims. Which one do you play? You know, baby's first flight sim. Oh, that's good, right? Instead, it's a wall of, oh my god, that's not a flight sim. What is wrong with you? Do you even have reproductive parts? Ah, right? It's like, folks, that's not good for opening up your community, right?
No, yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
but now they've kind of recovered, right? And
Good.
they're getting better out there. Yeah,
that's great. Well, I think we can probably conclude on that, Mark. You have any
sure.
leaving remarks or anything you want to say on the way out?
Just thanking everybody for keeping the faith, and to remind you that you get listened to, right? And getting listened to isn't maybe getting exactly what you wanted down to the decimal place, but you are heard, and your enthusiasm counts, right?
Awesome.
Like I said, like watching you play reminded me, it's like, right, this is what I was thinking of, right? Like,
awesome. That's good.
No, seriously, right? Like over the years, like especially, I mean, I'm human. I get barraged by like, 150,000 people over 10 years going, oh yeah, no, those real time ones, yeah, they do much better. Like you should have thought of that. Like, why did you limit yourself that way? It's like that kind of thing. Then watching you play and watching you sweat every square you move,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, right, that's what I was getting. Right now, I remember. Thank you.
Yeah. There's fear and horror and anticipation in this that you wouldn't imagine, right? It's
right.
It's got its own thing. The turn based is its own thing for sure.
Yeah,
And
it
I love
is,
it.
right?
I love
and
it.
it deserves to exist, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And like I said, if someday we get a deal, like I said, to put the Pit 2 on a console and it's real time there, I need you guys not to freak out, right? You will have your turn thing, and it needs to go differentiation. And also try and remember the fact that speaking of guys working on stuff, I can't make the same game for 20 years in a row, right? Like my brain has to go in different directions. Which,
yeah, absolutely. Try new things,
Try new things. And for whoever mentioned SOTS 3, it's like, as long as I stay alive, there's always will be a SOTS 3, right?
Yeah, I'm sure there's I get the odd like SOTS fan in my chat, like the original, and I haven't played them, but they're for people who are turn-based strategy fans, a lot of them often mentions the Sword of the Stars games, and that's always good to hear.
Yeah, you might get like an interim story-based SOTS product. I would suspect will be the next step in the process, right, for reviving SOTS. So like the Homeworld was a story-based RTS, right? You played mission to mission, but it told a story along thing, which I wrote the first one, and Cataclysm as well. But yeah, so hang in there. Yeah, folks, be kind to SOTS too, right? Try and remember that. No, I'm actually not saying I can lay the entire blame of that on the publisher, but also the reality is that if you remember, it was 2008 and the Western world collapsed, right? Like money disappeared from that world, right? Funding from that game ceased to exist, right? Like, folks, it was enough times passed that people forget the meltdown that occurred, right? But it was significant. So that's a life during wartime kind of game, right? Like, it breaks my heart, and it breaks my heart because some things I was trying to prove got crippled, and hence became failure ideas, right? And it's just like that's always heartbreaking for a designer, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it was definitely the worst of times, man. Right? And people like Giamatti, I'm sad it feels bad for you, but people broke themselves trying to save that game. So yeah, words of reality.
Quite a story.
Dark, man. Yeah. That's right. Totally dark. But anyways, but let's keep pushing to the future. Also, no offense, but when we're talking SOTS 3, bringing up that SOTS 2 was bad doesn't help ever.
Not inspiring, but
No, also even in business, like eventually it's just like, hi, yeah, what do you got? Oh, we're interested in doing another space RTS game. Oh, that's good. I'm like, don't mention SOTS 2.
How'd your last one do?
Yeah, exactly.
What last one?
Actually, that last one sold quite a bit. We just never saw a penny from it.
Oh yeah,
that's another story.
Ouch.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. I can babble forever, so
that's all good. We like hearing your babble.
You should you should get rid of me and get back to your stream.
Oh, I'm gonna end my stream, so it's all good.
Okay.
All good.
But anytime you want me back, give me a whistle, and I will personally keep giving you a heads up so you can spread the word to your community.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for reaching out to me, and thanks for coming on the stream and sharing this awesome news. We're pretty excited about Pit 2, and we'll do our best to help you get it out the door, man.
Thank you very much, everybody.
All right.
Take care. Be safe. Have fun.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right, folks. That was Mecron. Big thanks to Mecron for coming on and chatting and giving us some pretty interesting news. Guys, 3 months, Pit 2, early access. And he says that's a, promise.